Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for today's MobileCause webinar, Creating Virtual Fundraisers That Entertain and Engage Donors. I'm Scott Couchman, the training manager at MobileCause, and as stay-at-home restrictions ease, but social distancing measures remain, how can nonprofits host fundraising events that are critical to supporting annual budgets? With virtual events, of course. So then how do you create fun and inspiring virtual fundraisers that increase giving and build community? Well, today we have two nonprofits who have done just that. They'll show us how their organizations created, managed, and executed their own unique and highly entertaining virtual fundraising events. Now, before we get started, please know we do welcome your participation and are here to answer your questions. So please submit them into the question box into your GoToWebinar control panel. We have fundraising experts behind the scenes to answer questions during the webinar. And at the end, we'll also have an open Q&A session with our presenters for additional questions. Now, we hope you enjoy today's webinar. And as a quick reminder, we will be sending out the recording and slides to all of our registrants afterwards. Now, today's webinar is presented by MobileCause. So MobileCause understands that everyday challenges that nonprofits face, constantly confronted with limited resources, yet still expected to expand your impact. You shouldn't have to face these challenges alone. And that's why MobileCause offers more than comprehensive fundraising software. We also provide one-on-one strategy from dedicated fundraising specialists and have the industry's best support team ready to provide assistance 24/7. At MobileCause, we're just as committed to your cause as you are, and together we can grow your nonprofit like never before. All right, so let me introduce you to our terrific panelists. Now, first off, Jenny Thompson is chair of the Great River School Foundation, a 501c3 created to support the long-term financial needs of Great River School's mission, preparing students for their unique roles as responsible and engaged citizens of the world. Great River School is a public charter school serving students in grades 1 to 12. Jenny is a trained Montessori teacher who now works in communications and parent education for two Montessori schools. Jenny used to work at Great River School, serves on the school board, and has a daughter who graduated from there. So she is passionate about raising money for the school. Steve Davis is the CEO of Genesis Community Health, a nonprofit medical, dental, and mental health care clinic for low-income uninsured people. Steve brings more than 25 years of business leadership and marketing experience to his role. Prior to joining Genesis Community Health, Steve served as CEO of a faith-based nonprofit medical pregnancy clinic in Moscow, Idaho. Sorry. Steve's earlier career in marketing spanned 16 years at Micron Technology, where he helped business units investigate, design, and implement software solutions that helped improve marketing processes and communications. An Idaho native, Steve is married to his college sweetheart, Marianne, with whom he shares two daughters, a son, and two sons-in-law. Kelly Donahue is an account manager with MobileCause, where she has advised and guided countless nonprofits to help grow their mission and inspire more giving. Now, today we have a jam-packed agenda for you, filled with inspiring ideas, firsthand insights, and helpful takeaways. Now, first we'll hear from our two guests on how their nonprofits successfully created and held their own entertaining and engaging virtual fundraising events. Then we'll share other fun and effective ideas for virtual events and some key setup essentials. All right, now before we begin discussing creative virtual fundraisers that entertain and engage donors, we do have a quick poll question for everyone. So let me go ahead and launch that poll. And bear in mind that this does occasionally take a bit to, give me a sec here. It does take a second or a few seconds for it to launch. So just a sec. Let me launch the poll. And it takes a second for it to load on my side, so hopefully it should be launching on your side. So as it's launching, hopefully you should be able to answer this here. And so the question is, do you have plans for an upcoming virtual fundraising event? And the choices are yes, we are well underway. Yes, but are in the beginning stages. We are thinking about it, or not yet. So if you're seeing it, go ahead and put it in the poll. If you're having problems with it, go ahead and feel free to put it in the, give it a few seconds, but go ahead and put it in the questions on there. So again, you're underway, you're in the beginning stages, thinking about it, or not yet. All right, we're getting some good responses here. All right, looks like it is slowing down. So we'll go ahead and close out that poll. Let's just take a look at those who were able to get into it here. Let's see what the results are. So interesting results. So a few of you are well on your way. You're at the beginning stages and thinking about it are the majority here, and not yet. So nice to see where you are or not in holding virtual fundraising events. So you know what? Good news. Whatever stage you're in, whether it's planning a virtual event or wherever it is you're in that process, our webinar today is going to have some truly helpful tips and ideas for your nonprofit. So let's go ahead and dive into it here. First off, I want you to join me in welcoming Jenny Thompson to start us off by sharing her experience with the Great River School Foundation's Blue Heron Bash online. Let me go ahead and give control over to you, Jenny. All right, it should be in your hands. So over to you, Jenny.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. Glad to be here talking about what Great River did this spring for our fundraiser. I'm going to switch to the second slide and give it a second. So our school is in St. Paul, Minnesota. It's tuition-free charter school. And usually we have, we serve grades 1 through 12. And it's a Montessori school, so we're really working on some unique features of learning, including hands-on and trips and all sorts of things that build our community and help children be their full selves. So typically, every year we have an event that is our primary fundraising event. We have other ways of fundraising, like giving to the school as a sustainer and things like that. But our big fundraising event of the year is called the Blue Heron Bash, and it's in person, usually. And we usually have 100 or 125 people attend, mostly parents of the school. And we have parent volunteers who run that. And it raises at least 20% of our annual fund budget. So in a typical year, we gross around 30,000 and we net around 25,000. And so it's both a fundraiser and a community building event just for adults. So this year we had to reformat, clearly. The event was supposed to happen in March, and we moved to distance learning in Minnesota in mid-March, and we knew we couldn't have it, so we moved the date to May, thinking maybe we could have it in person, but then it became really clear that we couldn't. Schools, the way school finances work is we are on a fiscal year that ends at the end of June or July 1st. So we did not have the option of postponing the event. We had to have it this year. So we took a break or took some thoughts and said, well, okay, how do we make it virtual? What can we do here? And here's some of the things we came to. A major function of the in-person event is a silent auction, so we kept that. And so much of the work had already been done for that with our parents, finding donations and getting them all organized. But we had to say basically, what else do we want to do to make this something that people will actually tune into? And also many of our families or some of our families are experiencing financial stress through the COVID pandemic, job loss or that sort of thing. So we really had to be mindful of that as well. So what we came up with was a variety of things. The only main thing that we kept from the in-person event was the silent auction, but we basically sat down and said, what's special about our school? What do people love? What do people miss about not being around this community of teachers, students, parents? And how can we tap into that to essentially tug their heartstrings, but also just remind them of why the school is important in their lives and the lives of their children and grandchildren, and encourage them to support our school through this virtual event. So we came up with an all weekend schedule. We actually, for the first time ever, opened the auction a week in advance, and the Sunday before the weekend of events, and we thought that would help us drive up bidding and get people excited about the weekend to come, and that really helped a lot. Normally we just have an in-person auction with paper and pencil writing down your bid. So this was a huge change for us. And then we came up with a whole series of events that you'll see on the right there that were designed to really drive interest in the event and also connect people with each other and with the staff and community of the school. So I'm going to talk more about each of these events shortly. We also wanted it to be fun, of course. So one of the major features that we did was we came up with a whole bunch of ways to share our love of the school and our community connections through videos. We originally thought maybe we'd have some interactive Zoom gatherings with families, but logistically and otherwise it just seemed like that was way too complicated. So what we did was we came up with a series of video events that we pre-recorded, but then we scheduled them and broadcast them at specific times to build that anticipation. In some of the things we came up with were, we had a talent show, we had an elementary staff talent show and then an adolescent staff talent show. And we were using the word talent very loosely just to encourage our staff to make videos. So some of them sang songs and read poems and read books and things, but we also had one of the staff showed his amazing basketball skills, and including shooting baskets from his rooftop. Don't try that at home. We had another teacher video herself doing yoga. An adolescent guide videoed her puppy in her backyard and all the exciting things the puppy was doing. So really it was just an opportunity to connect with the staff that our children love, our parents love, and remind them why they love the school. We also pulled an event that had been an in-person event called the Coffee House. That is essentially an adolescent talent show for grades 7 through 12, and they have these in the fall and the spring, and clearly we're not able to have it as a part of distance learning. So we took that event, which wasn't going to happen at all, and made it a part of our Blue Heron Bash and opened it to grades 1 through 12. So we had them submit videos, and we had lots of elementary piano players and adolescents crooning songs on their guitars in their bedroom. So there was more variety than that, but that was really a fun way to show the strength of the school and our students. And then we had a slideshow of photographs that we called a world premiere, and it was photographs that our families had not seen from the entire school year. So we premiered that, and then on the Saturday of the event, our head of school videoed himself giving a bedtime message to families. So our goal was really to help families tune in at multiple times throughout the weekend and not be tied to one particular event time, because we know the way families work. We wanted them to have some flexibility and to have multiple reasons for coming back to our event page at different times. And then we also had some at-home participation ideas where we posted a sort of an elementary scavenger hunt or a nature bingo card that families could take and spend their Saturdays doing together. And the idea was that even though you're in your own homes doing your own thing, you're participating as a whole community in this idea, and feeling some connection with other families. And we had them post their results to our Facebook pages, community pages. And on the same nature, we have our school has an amazing lunch program where they make homemade, made from scratch organic meals. And they've been producing food throughout the distance learning period where families can order and pick up meals. And so we worked with our kitchen staff to develop a special meal just for the Blue Heron Dash weekend. And they picked it up Friday. And the idea was that you're eating with your own family, but there's a celebratory meal that you're somewhat sharing with the whole community. So then we also, the way that we worked into these video events, the idea that this is a fundraiser and that in addition to tying into the school that you love, we need to be supporting the school that we love. So any of our video messages, including the adolescent coffee house and the staff talent shows, etc., had little inserts that encouraged families to go to the auction site and bid on items, or sign up for a great gathering, a fixed price social event, or we had the interspersed with the videos, the number you can text and the message you can text to set up a donation. So all sorts of ways. And our text to donate info, the words that we use for our families is goats, because we had goats on campus. So we were trying to have some fun with it. And then our head of school came up with a jump in the lake incentive. He's currently living on a lake in northern Minnesota. The temperature was 41 degrees. And so he said that he would jump in the lake one time for every $1,000 we raised. And I'm happy to report that he had to do that 30 times, except that his wife made him stop after 10 because he was fully clothed, jumping in this 41-degree lake and was getting hypothermia. But we videoed the first 10, and so families just thought that was fun and a great incentive. And then the only message that we sort of waited to video was the bedtime message, which was the Saturday night of the weekend. And we wanted it to feel a little more live. And so he videotaped it, the head of school videotaped it 30 minutes before the end of the evening so that he could have an update about our giving for the day. In terms of our technical setup, we had a single events page through MobileCause that housed all campaign details. It was the place you went to for everything. So it was a place you went to click on the video and the slideshow for all the different events. You could click to the auction from there. You could see our head of school talking about his jump in the lake incentive. So all of those things, we try to drive everyone to the one site where they can engage at all these different opportunities. And then what was nice about it is if a family missed a premiere, like the staff talent show premiering at 4 o'clock or something, they could just come back and the video was there, so they could see it at any time. Let's see. So some of the promotional strategies that we used. What was interesting, I think, about this is that because we were distance learning and because we had to go online, we actually went above and beyond anything we've ever done for promoting this event, because we felt the urgency of the school needing the money, but also just knowing that we didn't have the in-person reminders and posters and handouts and etc. So we had to really go beyond our usual plan. In fact, the Great River Foundation rarely gets involved in this event. I'm not usually involved. I just show up and spend a little money, but the parent volunteers do it all. But we needed more hands on deck to really make this work. We reached out to alumni families and parents. And the nice thing about it being virtual is that we promoted as come see your former teachers and the school that you love performing and connecting with. And then so I think we got a lot more alumni families at this event than we would ever get at an in-person event. We did lots of social media postings, which is what you're seeing on the right. We have some community pages. So just kept promoting all the different ways that you can get involved with your community, build community, and support your school. And we also did some text blasts to our community when the big weekend kicked off and then right before the auction closed. And I think as a result of it being virtual, we reached a wider community than we would have reached otherwise. I think more grandparents involved and friends and extended people than ever would have been involved if it were an in-person event. So the results were really great. We had little or no expenses because we weren't purchasing food and all the things you do when you have an in-person event. I mean, obviously there's a lot of volunteer hours and sweat equity in this, but in terms of actual expenses, they were very minimal. And we doubled the number of bidders in our auction, really more than we've ever had. So I think the virtual auction will be something that we take forward in future years because it was an amazing reach this year. We netted almost $40,000 this year, which we just were frankly so shocked and happy about because it was more than our modest goal. And our annual fund for the whole year is $120,000, and we will reach that by the end of June. We have a lot of sustaining people who give every month, so we're just thrilled that we're going to be able to meet our goal for the year, and that our community felt really connected at this time when we were all separate. Some of the things, a couple of the things that have contributed to our virtual event success that, again, I'm hoping that we use going forward, some of them, is that because our auction was online and open for 7 days, that made a huge difference. And I think it allows people who maybe don't, let's say grandparents or people who don't necessarily like in-person events as well, it allows them a way to contribute. So I'm sure we're going to keep doing that for the future. We increased our outreach through alumni mailing, social media, and raising awareness. And then I think there was a huge urgency around the fact that the school has increased expenses in this time of COVID, and people's gifts really mattered. Just as an example, we tried to really share with our community that the school had to, we ended up buying $20,000 worth of laptop computers to loan out to families so that their children could do distance learning at home. Because if you have 3 kids and all of a sudden 3 kids and 1 or 2 parents are all working from home, they just didn't have the technology. So the school stepped up and made that happen. We also purchased internet for families who are basically technology, or help them get internet at home if they were struggling financially to do that. So we just had to be really clear with our messaging to supporters that this is a time of hardship for some of our families, and the more you can contribute, the more you support our families. And so we really designed our impact numbers, you see on the right there, to be around the COVID related things, and to frame it in a real genuine way about how the school is impacted by the pandemic and distance learning and how we're supporting our families. And I think that urgent message really had a big impact on people's ability to give, but also having it be virtual made it a wider reach. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jenny, for all of your insight into making your virtual fundraiser exciting and engaging. And it's good to see those the different pieces.
I'm gonna hand it back.
With the information and with like the auction and everything else. So nice to see that those details there. So with that, let me give control here, and we will turn it over to Steve Davis of Genesis Community Health to hear about their virtual benefit dinner with the Boise Boys. Take it away, Stephen.
Thanks, Scott, and thank you for letting us be here and share our insights. So I'll get started by just telling you a little bit about Genesis Community Health. We're out in Boise, Idaho in the Northwest, and we do provide low-income, uninsured people with medical, dental, mental health care, as well as social and spiritual support. We serve about 1,200 people, and we do that about 5,600 times per year. So that's about the size that we are. And We've been doing it for around 19 years. In each one of those years, we have had an annual benefit dinner as a major part of our fundraising. So, of course, we do the spring fundraiser season, and so we have ours every year in April. So when COVID first started coming, we had planned to have an event at a really nice facility, and we planned to have the Boise boys come, and they would do a meet and greet. And people really love to see and meet people that are well known. And for the Boise area, the Boise boys are a very well known group. So that was going to be what we were going to do, and we're going to have a dinner and then do our annual appeal. And typically, that's what we do, and that's the success we have. But with COVID-19, it quickly became apparent that we were going to have to do something else. The first thought was that we were going to have to cancel an event, but this raises about $40,000 a year for us, and so canceling was just an immediate $40,000 loss, and that was something we couldn't do. So we had to think fast and act fast. With about 30 days, we had to turn it from a virtual, from a face-to-face event to a virtual event. And so there was not a lot of time to make this happen. So what we did for planning was that we reached out to the local Chick-fil-A, and we decided, what if we did a virtual dinner where we gave them dinner and then they went home and had the dinner, watched the event, got to participate in it because we would do it live, and then also allow them to ask questions and respond to those questions. So we wanted to make it kind of a live event. And so we talked to the Boise boys, and they said, yes, we will continue to get together. We talked to a local church. The church said, hey, we're doing video already. We know how to do this, and so we'll donate our studio and our video techs, and we'll come in and help you guys. And so Chick-fil-A donated 100 gift cards. We bought 250 gift cards. And so we had our dinner, we had our location, we had our entertainment, and we were pretty well set. And so that turned out to be quite a blessing because it was very well worth it. And there were a lot of people, as Jenny pointed out, there's a lot of people who will attend a virtual event who won't go to a dinner. And right now, with people being locked in their homes, there's a lot of people who are looking to do something that's a little different than watching TV. So this is really a great opportunity for having a virtual event. So after we got Chick-fil-A and we got everybody lined up, then the next thing that we wanted to do, well, one of the things that we had to do going back a little bit was to get the Boise boys. And, you know, as far as them being on HGTV and national people, what I did was I wrote to the HGTV online and just sent a heartfelt email of why I would like their help and how they transform houses like we're transforming the lives of the people that we serve, and that we felt that it would be a good fit for them to join our event, and we sent an invitation. So one of the things that, you know, as you're thinking about what kind of entertainment you want to have, go ahead and swing for the fences. The worst they can do is say no, but, you know, if you've got a really good story and a really good cause that you can tie somebody to, and you can help them understand that tie, you know, they'll at least consider it. It turned out to be a huge blessing for us because the gentleman on the right, his name's Clint, and his son, you'll see him on the TV if you've ever seen the HGTV, he'll bring his boys into hell, but his son is going to medical school, and we didn't know it, but his son was one of our volunteers. And at Genesis, we do all of our support for the community through over 200 volunteers. So it was easy for me not to know Clint Robertson's son, Eli Robertson, was one of our volunteers, but it turned out he was. So when they saw the response, they said, yes, we love you guys. Even though we didn't know they knew us, they did know us. And so that was the tie-in. And plus, they also agreed that they're transforming the lives, or transforming houses was a lot like how we're taking care of people in the community, that we're seeing people that other people might not see as very healthy or very well off, or they're just kind of the underserved, and we go in and we take them and we help them up. And so they really tied into that, and they tied into what we were doing, and so they said yes. And that's kind of something that, if you've got somebody in mind, don't hesitate to reach out to them and ask. So after we got the Boise boys and they were willing to do it, then the last thing was putting the virtual online technology together. And that's where MobileCause just really helped us out, because it's a one-page event page with so many different easy-to-use modules. We were able to really quickly put this together, and in a way that our people that aren't even technology savvy could really understand. One of the things that we did was we needed to know who wanted to get Chick-fil-A, because we were buying those. If they didn't want Chick-fil-A or they didn't like Chick-fil-A, why send them free gift cards that we paid for? So we used the ticket module and asked them how many tickets or Chick-fil-A cards would they like. We limited it to 2 per household, because that's the average number of donors per household. And then we also provided an opt-out. And so we had a lot of donors who did not want Chick-fil-A because they didn't want us to buy it, or they just decided that they were going to stay inside for health and safety reasons and provide their own food. So this was really a nice feature for us to use this ticket module. And then what we did is we had questions you'd like to ask Genesis or the Boise boys. And that way, when the Boise boys talked the night of the event, they were talking to our donor base and answering questions that were relevant and of interest to them, instead of talking about things that they just made up or guessed about. And so it was especially engaging for people to get to hear their questions and get to hear them answered by the Boise boys. So that worked out really well. And we just used the ticket piece in order to make that part happen. And so what ended up happening is, once they registered for the tickets, not only did they get the tickets, but they got a program and they got a response device, just like as if they were sitting down in the dinner. So they could go through the program and read about people and see our sponsors and look at the agenda, or the night of events programming. And it gave them another sense of, even though this is a virtual, it's not like a webinar, it's literally like you're being in a dinner. And people really appreciated that piece. And then with the response device, if people are uncomfortable, like some of your older donors, or our older donors anyway, are not comfortable with donating online, they had the response device included. But if they were comfortable, that response device also told them how they could make the online donation, or how they could text to donate. So it served any of our donors with their options of how they wanted to donate. So that worked out really nice. And we were able to get those out in time for everybody to have them for the event. And so then, as you look at this one, once we went live, the Boise boys just came in, they talked, they answered the questions that our donors had asked. We got to showcase our mission, our services. And one of the really cool things is if people are virtual, they're planning and wanting to see more video, more entertainment. It needs to be more of interest. Otherwise, people will drone out. And so one of the things we did is we also included a tour of the clinic. Now, we've had donors that have been donors for years, and as you know, your donors usually, a lot of times it's who they know, that they become connected, and then they know you're a great ministry or a great nonprofit, but they a lot of times don't take the time to come down and take a tour of it. With this being an online virtual event, we were able to include a tour of the clinic in our events presentation. And how that worked out really well is that a lot of people that have been donating for years said, I had no idea what a free and charitable clinic looked like. They had stereotyped it off of TV or off of something that they thought it was, and they didn't realize what a quality and efficient and professional clinic it was. And so we got a lot of feedback. So if you're doing a virtual event, you can't get people to usually come down to where you serve and see how you serve. Including a video of what that looks like would be a really good thing for your donors to get to see. So that's just something that you might want to keep in mind as well. So once we finished the event, the cool thing was that as you look at that, it says watch here. We're still sending people to this site, and people are still able to watch it even if they didn't get to see it originally. And what that does is that essentially keeps your virtual benefit going on and on and on. And that's a really cool thing, because some people just aren't going to make the night of the event. And what you're used to seeing, at an event is it's one and done that evening. But this has continued to be able to help us raise funds and help us get the word out and for other people to attend the event. And so that was a really successful feature of doing a virtual event. And so, it's, if you build the event page, or if you build a page with all of the different information like you just saw scroll through, it keeps people engaged. It allows them to look at the things that they want to see. And then when the video was live, if they just wanted to go full screen and not see any of this, they could do that from the comfort of their TV. So it really worked out nicely for our donors, depending on their attention span and their own personal preferences. So then, the event results for the evening were actually amazing. So now keep in mind, we had 30 days. We thought, okay, we're canceled. We usually have about 300 people attend. So putting this together, we ended up with 500 attendees, because people will come to this that are friends of friends. We had 37 new donors that had never donated to Genesis before. And then, like I mentioned, the growing continuous donations. When at the time of preparing these slides, we've raised over $35,000, but by now, yesterday I ran a total preparing for this webinar, and now we're over $40,000. And what we did is we said, we're sorry we missed you, to some of our lapsed donors and other donors. We're sorry you missed the event and weren't able to attend. Here is a link to the event. Here's a link to a tour, and we'd love to have you join us anytime it's convenient for you. We sent that out to people who missed the event, and we're still getting hits, and we're still getting people that are watching and making donations. So that's another really exciting thing about a virtual event, is that it can go on for as long as you'd like it to. And so now we've got on this bullet, net raised was a little lower with fewer sponsors. Actually, our net raised was actually higher now. We're actually $1,400 higher than our premier gala from a year ago. And so it's just amazing to see what a virtual event can do. And as Jenny pointed out, getting the word out and letting people know is one of the biggest things to having that access and getting people involved. So it's something that's worth your time, and it's something that's worth the effort. And so you'll want to do this. So at this point, I will turn it back over to Scott.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Steve, for all the helpful information and tips on how you transitioned your in-person event into a fun virtual event. Now, for our audience, as a quick reminder, if you have any questions, you can submit them into the question box in your control panel as we go along. So let me switch gears here, and let me turn it over to Kelly Donahue here. So let's hear from our fundraising expert, Kelly Donahue, on creating virtual fundraisers that entertain and engage donors. Kelly.
Great, thanks, Scott. No, I appreciate both of the panelists here too. So today I'll be talking through a few more creative virtual event ideas, starting with some examples. I went a little beyond. 1 second. Scott, my controls might not be working well. If you want to help me here. Here we go. So the first one I wanted to mention is the Berkeley Reps Annual Aviation Fundraiser. And the culminating event involved tributes to and a discussion with Anna DeVere Smith. If you don't recognize the name, she's a highly accomplished actress, writer, and theater artist. She's also Berkeley Reps Artistic and Managing Director. So for this event, they had one signature cocktail, really easy to make, a couple ingredients, and some really more involved ones. And they had the supporters make these during the event. And as you can see, they did very, very well. They raised over $949,000. The next one I wanted to highlight is the Mill Village Farms Culinary Concert. And so they also shared a cocktail recipe, but also along with appetizers, a dessert recipe, all on their event page. And the entree recipe, though, was shared via a live cooking class. Sorry about, I'm really bad with these, with the controls. But this event did the cooking class online, but if you did not want to attend the cooking class, there also did a live stream simultaneously of a concert with Edward McCain. So you could listen to tunes while you cooked, or go to the cooking class. But in addition, the guests also shared selfies of themselves with their meals, and the organization made them into a video and then added that to the event page as well, which makes it super interactive and very personal. And they also included videos from the board chair thank yous and an impact video. So this event had no shortage of entertainment, and they raised over $109,000 so far. The next one I wanted to highlight is the Settlement Music School. So this event included performances from very talented musicians. They also included presentations and stories from Michael Bacon, Kevin Bacon, Connor Baldwin, Kevin Eubanks, Kiera Hughes, a lot of celebrities. And throughout the presentation, those folks would also share the text to donate keyword and short code with the event thermometer and showed their progress to their goal. So at the end, they raised over $322,000 on this one. The next one I wanted to highlight here is the, go past this one, is the Van Cortlandt Parks Alliance. Oh, I'll do this one first. Sorry, Scott. The Stepping Stones is the other one also I wanted to highlight. And the Stepping Stones did a dinner theater experience virtual this year, their first one, and they broadcasted an original theater performance based on real-life experience from the homeless. Very unique, and they shared their text-to-donate keyword and displayed it on the event thermometer, while their hosts provided updates throughout their evening. I also want to point out that it was really cool to see the host, if you look at the screen on the top right corner, just to be able to see her and be able to connect with, with what she's saying throughout the event. And as you can see on here, is that they raised $34,000 so far. The next one I wanted to mention is the Van Cortlandt Parks Alliance, and they're doing a virtual picnic this year. This one event hasn't been held yet. As you can see, it's on the 16th of this month, a few days away, but really off to a great start with their fundraising efforts. As for entertainment, they have a dance party with a live stream with a local DJ performing, DJ Daniel. And anyone who donates to attend this event will get a separate link to that dance party. They also get a recipe for a signature cocktail and instructions on how to make a flower crown, so to be worn at the event. So really cool to see that you can, encourage folks to donate prior to the event to be able to receive, links and cocktails and a lot more incentives. We have yet to see the full results, but as you can see, they've raised over $41,000 thus far before their event. The next one, I really love this one. So the Vascular Foundation Pajama Party virtual event is also still to come, but they will be having two hosts, and both individuals are living with vasculitis. So these attendees don't need to wear pajamas, although strongly encouraged, and I'm sure most folks are doing it these days anyway, but that night, they'll have a musical performance and stories. A ticket for this is a regular individual ticket is $20, and it'll get you a PJ snack pack. And a VIP ticket is $50, and it includes a PJ gift pack, including t-shirts and other, more favors in that one. They're also, on this one, we'll have a special guest, Jamie Lee Curtis. She is passionate about this organization. Her mother, Janet Lee, died after a long battle with vasculitis. So Jamie is really excited, and it'll be really great to have as a guest speaker. They'll also have a performance with Allison Ross. If you don't recognize her name, she is a professional violinist, and she also founded Violins for Vasculitis, a nonprofit that includes musical performances to those with her, with the condition, and awareness to those who don't know about the disease. In addition, so this is another one that has a lot of stuff going on, which is great. Patients and physicians will also share, their experience with VF, the Vasculitis Foundation, and how it's impacted their lives. So wanted to just, of course, go through those quick examples to see how other folks are using MobileCause and be able to use the event page for virtual experience. But now that we've explored some fun, unique virtual event ideas, I want to talk about the key elements of how to create your virtual fundraiser. So the first step of creating an event, the virtual event, is your idea. If you are drawing a blank, don't feel like you have to, the pressure to come up with an idea on your own. I recommend ask your community, what do they think would be fun? It's always a great way to engage and share your organization in that way as well. And you can ask your board, perhaps create a poll, a post on social media, a survey, get those ideas flowing. The second, reach out to those celebrities or special guests. Just ask. As Steve mentioned before at Genesis Community Health, you don't necessarily need a connection to get support from the celebrities and influencers. And I think I wanted to quote you that, swing for the fences. There's no harm in doing it. What they can also do is just say no. So that would be a great way to do it. Virtual events, though, work best when there is a host or MC to let the attendees know what to expect, what's coming next, transitioning between segments, and reminding viewers to donate. and it just helps with the overall flow of your virtual event. And the last, I guess, third bullet point here is you ideally want to come up with a great reason for attendees to tune in live. Even if it's a pre-recorded launch, quote unquote, live event, have some unveiling, a live Q&A, entertainment, lessons, really anything fun that the experience that they feel like they might miss out if they don't attend live. Create the FOMO, is what I like to call it, the fear of missing out. And my next slide here. So the impact of a live stream video. So we encourage you to use video and or live stream within your virtual event to engage and interact with your attendees. Lead with a video or a live stream on your event page to grab attention. Use the live stream for concerts, entertainment, in-the-moment interviews, and then share those videos about your campaign impact, mission, or beneficiaries. There are so many great ideas for a short video that you can share. A few examples, which I've seen today from nonprofits and the speakers, but you could always show heartfelt impact statements from beneficiaries, messages from the board or prominent supporters. The rawness and realness of your story will help drive those donations. And using this event page will make your promoting and watching your virtual event simple. My favorite word is simple. It's one single URL, you can drive supporters to donate, sponsor, volunteer, download materials, watch the event, et cetera, in one single page. And the same link will work before and after the event. As Steve mentioned, he's still getting donations. Makes it easier for viewers to watch and watch again and without getting lost in any of the social media algorithms. I also want to point out at the bottom of this page is we do have a blog post. We might not be able to get through everything, technical aspects of virtual fundraising today, but this resource and blog post, you can learn more about what you'll need. So I know we'll share it in our handout, but also it'll be in the chat. Go to the next page here. So how to position a powerful ask. Make your appeal heartfelt, emotional, passionate, and throughout the event. If you have a fundraising goal, and reinforce how much it's needed to achieve it. Make the first appeal not too early or not too late in the program. If you're going live, we recommend to make your primary ask after your main entertainment. It's a good way to ensure your supporters are tuned in and excited and ready to help out. And then make your appeals throughout the event as well, even if it's a simple reminder of how to give. Keeping the top of mind, and remember, unlike an in-person event, not everyone's going to be tuning in right in the beginning and or stay until the end. So include several asks throughout the night, so no matter when they join, they can hear and see how to give and what the appeal is. We also recommend to recognize donors' names. It's a great way to encourage giving. Also provide real-time updates on the progress towards the goal while you're appreciating your donors' contributions. So we do also have a step-by-step guide on creating the programs for your virtual event. And I encourage you to download our ebook. You can also find this. This will be in our handout section of the GoToWebinar, and it will also be included in the chat link, the 5 steps to perfect virtual fundraising event program. So great. So at this point, as we all know, no one really knows what the future holds for in-person events, but why we're all probably here, what they'll look like, how large it can be, how comfortable people will even feel. But we do believe going forward, in-person events should have a virtual component. By including a virtual aspect in your in-person event, you'll be able to reach supporters well beyond your local area. And we have clients, well, one client specifically is in the Northeast, who typically gets attendees from about 4 states in this in-person event. And when they did their virtual event, they had participation from 24 states. So huge reach. So To recap quickly, why have a virtual component? It helps increase reach beyond your community and enables those who can't attend to participate. We encourage you to live stream your in-person program with the presenters and a live event thermometer. And lastly, get creative, have fun with it. If you're only doing a virtual event, perhaps do a pre-show entertainment, whether it's a behind-the-scenes look or a game or a challenge. It's just you're ultimately trying to keep people engaged. And I believe the next slide, that is it. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Scott, to go forward.
All right, thanks a lot, Kelly. So thank you, Jenny, Stephen, and Kelly for sharing your valuable expertise with us today. We really hope everyone here is inspired to start trying these strategies for their own exciting virtual fundraising events. Now, as a reminder, as Kelly said, check out the handouts section of your go-to panel there to get the downloads, as well as in chat. We have them there as well, so don't forget those. So before we go ahead and jump into our Q&A, we wanted to ask a quick question here. Again, if the poll is acting up for you, feel free to put it in chat. But we'd love to know, are you interested in learning more? So let me go ahead and launch that poll. And hopefully it'll behave here. Yeah, taking a little time on my end here. Let's see. So yeah, okay, so it looks like it's starting up now. So if you're having problems with the poll, feel free to put it in the chat. Are you interested in learning more? Would you like to learn more about virtual events with MobileCause? You want more information on MobileCause software, or want one-on-one consultation with MobileCause? So definitely put in your answers there. And okay, we're getting some responses. So I'll go ahead and close that out. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into those Q&A before the top of the hour. So it looks like we got a couple of questions here. So let me get those in line. Need to scroll up to find it here. There we go. So this is actually both for Jenny and for Steve. In what ways were volunteers used for these events? So why don't we start with Jenny?
Sure. Well, our event was primarily voluntarily driven. So we have event co-chairs who are parents and are really coordinating anything related to the auction, including entering items into the databases, well, soliciting items to begin with, and then monitoring the auction the night of the event and delivering items to families after the event, or actually we had pickup at the school. But then we also had lots of other contributions, like all the families that donated or filmed themselves for this talent shows and that kind of thing. And then our foundation is actually all volunteer driven. I'm a volunteer. So we helped with all of the school communications. We found it was easier. Like I drafted a lot of the school communications around letters to families and alums and Facebook posts and all of that. And then the school approved them and then we posted them. So there's a lot of communication volunteer effort. So that's it, I would say. Lots of volunteer hands.
All right, great. Thank you. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, so for us, we, of course, the church where we had the studio, all of the video guys and sound guys, they were all technology volunteers. They drove the technology. They helped us with setting up our YouTube Live, for example, and helped us walk through that kind of technology. So we had technology people. We had people putting together those registration packets with the program, with the donation form, and with the return envelope, and the gift Chick-fil-A card. So we put together those packages and mailed those. That's where volunteers got involved. And then we had volunteers the night of the event, since we were doing it live, to try and make sure people felt engaged and felt like they were connected with us. We had people that were ready to respond to questions during the event online. And then we also had phone numbers where people could call us if they were having questions or if they wanted to make a donation over the phone. And so that's where they also helped. And then lastly, with the thank yous for all of the donors, we wanted to call and personally thank people. And so some of our really close volunteers helped us with that.
All right, great. So I noticed we are at the top of the hour. I do want to get this one last question out, though. It's a really good one here. So for again, both Jenny and for Steve, in-person events often provides a personal feel-good setting that can tie an audience to the mission or the vision of an organization. With virtual events, how do you feel you did, and what do you do to create a similar connection to your participants, donors, etc.? Jenny?
Yeah, great question. Because that is, tapping into people's heartstrings and their ideas about why your organization is good is vital. I would have to say we used this question really to decide what we were going to do for the event, because we wanted our donors, our people attending, to be really in touch with who we were as a school and what we're doing in educating children in Montessori. So a couple of the ways we did that was a photo slideshow of the students from the whole year, was really showing hands-on work and small group learning and outdoor adventures and all of those things that speak to who we are as a school and how we're different than other schools. And then secondly, we really focused on the people living our mission, in the beloved teachers and our beloved head of school and other students and families, and through the talent shows and the videos really tried to show the people that are living this mission. And so anything we could do to really tap into that idea of who we are as a school and why it's important to support us, as much as you can do virtually, you're still doing it, right? But not as much in person. Thanks.
Great. And Steve?
Yeah, so for us, one of the things that we did, we made sure that the event was live. We had interaction where they could either call in or they could send us questions online. Before the event, the donors got to ask any question they wanted to hear Clint and Luke answer, and then Clint and Luke picked out of that list and answered some of their questions. So that kept them engaged. And then something we cannot do that was better with the virtual event is give people a tour. It'd be great to have everybody come down and see what we do. You can't get that through regular events, so we use this opportunity to give everybody a tour of Genesis. And that was probably one of the biggest highlights of the event. So doing those things allowed people to still feel close and feel connected and feel like they're part of the event.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, thank you both for your responses and your presentations with us. I love the various things that shows how virtual events may start out as like a replacement for the live event, but sort of gets its life of its own. So really nice to see that and all of the features with it. So with that in mind, we have come to the conclusion of our Q&A. So before we leave, if you're interested in discovering how MobileCause can help maximize your fundraising efforts so you can raise more with less time and effort, or if you would like to schedule a personalized one-on-one demo to see how MobileCause can help grow your nonprofit, please fill out our post-webinar survey. So again, thank you for attending today and best of luck in all of your fundraising efforts. We look forward to seeing you again at next month's live webinar. So stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day, everyone.